morning.
Good morning.
Could I have everybody move up to close to the front row as you possibly can, because you're not going to want to miss this. This is going to get, yeah, you might get a little spit on you. But I want you to emotionally be connected to what I'm going to show you. So come on up as close, because you almost need your face in the middle of this. Yeah. It's really, yeah, just getting scared now, huh? Yeah, no, I know, it's, my presentations are a little weird at times, huh? Yeah. So, look, let me ask you this. Victories, wins, gratitudes.
Closing yesterday with a really cool Vietnam vet.
Wow.
Really cool guy.
Nice. Wow, that's cool. I love.
Well, I think the reason I got the client is what we were talking about this morning, and he had met with some other agents that were going to help him buy, and I spent the time to ask him about his service, and I was the only one that did that. And I told him I worked with other veterans, and he said, "Mike, I'm using you. You're the only one that's asked me about this service, this part of my life that was big for me."
So we're going to be talking about emotional intelligence today in my presentation. It's going to get a lot of fun here. And we're going to go through some really cool things. So thanks for sharing that. Who else?
I want to share one.
Yes.
You know, we always talk about going the extra mile for the client.
Yes.
Yesterday, I had to jump in. An agent was extremely sick and things have started to fall apart. It's been, thanks Marita.
That's right.
It's been a
Part of
couple
that.
of weeks in the making of falling apart, and we saved the deal. We got it closed, and we went over and beyond, and they were extremely thankful. And you know, us talking about going and bending over backwards sometimes for clients' best interest, that's what we did yesterday when we finally went to the closing table.
And isn't that amazing? And I'm going to use this story today. We're going to go into it a little bit, why that happened.
And getting a call from the other agent saying thank you so much for
Yeah,
helping
we'll
out.
probably
It's
recruit
great.
this agent because of that.
Oh.
Yes, great.
Matt, I'm really grateful for your presentation,
right?
because that inspired me to go out to print up a MLS page on a just sold. Well, it was a just under contract, and go out and door knock late yesterday, and it was really a good experience. And I hadn't done that with one of those in hand, but when they heard what was selling and for how much, it was eye openers.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Great presentation. A little bit I got to see it. Thanks for sharing that. Yes, Tim.
Yeah, something that's not really has nothing to do with real estate, but I hired a coach yesterday for physical that kind of plateaued the last couple of weeks, and to take it to the next level. So I hired this
Wow.
person.
You inspire me, bro.
Thanks, man.
You do.
Thank you.
I'd love to see what you've been doing. How many pounds?
About 65.
65. Holy cow. Amazing, right?
That's a full effort. That's a
Yeah.
teenager.
Yeah, that's my
That's one of my butt cheeks.
6-year-old. It's my 6-year-old now. Yeah.
Don't choke. He's emotionally
That was a
connected
great
to
presentation.
that.
He said he wanted it right up here.
They call me TA. You know what that stands for?
We're scared out.
Scared ass.
Tank ass.
Talk a lot.
Talk a lot.
I mean, guess what get paid
Right? We gotta laugh at ourselves in life, right? Thanks for sharing that. So, anybody else? Okay.
Just the fact that me jumping on the team this week, and I actually feel like I put in a solid week.
Love
A
it.
solid week of work, just the calls. You know, it's felt real good this week.
You feel like a soldier in a platoon now, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been on the phone all day.
Yeah, he has. Of course he has. Yeah.
Inspiration.
It's amazing. It's really good. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. So, anybody else? Okay, so Summit's coming up this next week. It's on Tuesday. The end of the year is coming. You guys need to really think about where you're at, where you're going, what you're doing. We're going into a new decade. How many of you thought about that? Think about it. That's crazy, right?
I just thought about
Oh, you just thought about it.
it. You asked a question, I answered.
Boom! Drop the mic, right?
So
That's
it's
awesome.
the Roaring Twenties again.
Roaring 20s again. I like that. That looked like some exciting times, right? Yeah. So, Matt, did you have something?
No, I just,
Or are you just
I thought you were-
bidding?
yeah, I thought you were just saying like who's
Yeah,
thought
I
about it.
did. Kind of like this morning, right?
Yeah.
What? It's not so important what's being said, it's what's perceived to be said, right? So our presentation's really going into emotional intelligence, emotional prospecting. My attempt in the series that I've been in objection handling, as you can see, has not been at all chanting the scripts. Why?
It's deeper than that.
It's deeper than that. Why
It's
is
your
that?
mindset. It's your belief on how you can handle the objection.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we're already expected to memorize that book, and this is taking it, the filler,
Yes.
the
Gives you the
music
why.
between the notes.
Yeah, the music. Ooh, I like that. The music between the notes.
I think sometimes we get locked into the program of the script that we don't take the exits like you
Ooh.
brought up.
Yes. Really like that. So emotional intelligence to a script is understanding how we're responding. What does that mean? So I don't want you to start wrapping your mind around is that you're delivering an experience. I'm going to show you a video. Let me set the stage for this video. This video is where a guy has lost his son. He's died. And he wrote this song and is singing this song. But we have to key on the body languages and the words, the tones. Now, Greg turned me on to why I'm effective in so many different ways a while ago. He says, Rick, it's kind of like you're singing a song with your tone, your pitch, your upswings, your downswings, how you ebb and flow through things. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
So I got thinking about that a lot and started thinking, well, why do I connect so deeply? Because I care that deeply. So we have to understand how we're showing up in life in order to be able to handle the objections. In our morning ascents, when we're chanting through the scripts, here's what I know. Mike's emotionally connected. Matt is emotionally connected. I am very much emotionally connected. Why?
You believe it.
I believe it. How can you tell that we are, though?
Emotions, the body.
The emotion, the body language, right? Yeah.
It's like the concept of just being of engagement. It's like sometimes difficult to pin down exactly why somebody appears as engaged, you know. But it's kind of like in a marriage, you know. You can just one of the biggest problems is like, oh, you're just not engaged. You may be going through the motions, but you're not necessarily engaged.
I like that because here's one that I've talked a lot about. Russ actually brought it to my understanding. Do what you did in the beginning in your marriage, there'll never be an end. Now think about that. So as we approach any script or any objection handle or door knock, whatever it is, ask yourself, how are you showing up? So let me run this video and then we're going to go into some of the construct of what I'm talking about. Cut the lights, please. I want you guys to pay real close attention about the emotion that's going on in this presentation. Because what we do is very much a presentation, an appointment I went with you on, very much was a presentation. We delivered an experience, correct? Yeah, watch this. This is amazing. Right there?
No, the one to the left of that.
That one right there.
With a song called The Father, My Son, and the Holy Ghost, Craig Morgan.
You see it all right?
Lights are shining bright, as always downtown on the road. I have friends that come from out of town, asking me to go. They say there's so much going on, why don't you come along and show us around? I tell them Karen's not feeling well, so I probably shouldn't go out. Besides, I've got a fixed list of things I need to do around the house. Then I hang up the phone, turn the radio back on, and sit back down. I know my boy ain't here, but he ain't gone. In the mornings I wake up, give her a kiss, head to the kitchen, pour a cup, wake me up, and try to rouse up some ambition. Go outside, sit by myself, and I ain't alone. I've got the Father, my Son, and the Holy Ghost. I've been beat up, I've been pushed and shoved, but never ever really knocked down. Between Mom and Dad, Uncle Sam and friends, I somehow always pulled out. But the pain of this was more than I'd ever felt before. Yeah, I was broke. I cried and cried and cried until I passed out on the floor. And then I prayed and prayed and prayed till I thought I couldn't pray anymore. Then minute by minute, day by day, my God, He gave me hope. I know my boy ain't here, but he ain't gone. And in the mornings I wake up, give her a kiss, head to the kitchen, pour a cup, wake me up, and try to rouse up some ambition. Go outside, sit by myself, but I ain't alone. I've got the Father, my Son, and the Holy Ghost. I love, I hope, I pray, I cry, I heal a little more easy inside. I won't completely heal till I go home. In the mornings I wake up, give her a kiss, head to the kitchen, pour a cup, wake me up, and try to rouse up some ambition. Go outside, sit by myself, but I ain't alone. I've got the Father, my Son, and the Holy Ghost. One day I'll wake up and I'll be with the Father, my Son, and the Holy Ghost.
We'll be right back.
So, when I talk delivering an experience, did he deliver an experience? Why? The emotion, could you see it? Could you feel it? So when you look at these things and try to decide in your presentations or when you're on the phone doing handling the objection with the homeowner, there's a reason we're doing what we're doing. We care. We believe. We want to help. So emotional objection handling, what does it mean? What does it mean when I say emotional objection handling? Because that's what we're going through.
I would say handling or helping them with their problems or issues with putting them first, making sure that they know that they're.
I like that.
Empathizing with them.
Empathy. I like that. What else? Are we listening to understand? You know, the key elements, just some of my I've written down, where I understand their key emotions. What are key emotions?
Well, I was just gonna say, last night I had a very convoluted appointment. There were a lot of different facets to it. And there's a family that lives together, and the dad is 97 years old, and the daughter is 52, and she's never owned a home. So she's feeling like the American dream is slipping away. She can't get her dad to sell because he's lived in this home for 70 years. And in the conversation, when I think they stopped like the family part of kind of fighting with each other, he was finally able to say, you guys are gone all day long. And if you move me to a new home that I have to learn, and I don't expect to live for more than a couple more years, I'm just gonna be staring at the walls of a place that I don't know. It's not filled with anything else. And at least when I'm alone with my memories here, you know?
Wow.
And I think that when you kind of can step back from what everybody's saying about the finances or the this or that, or you're almost dying so we can take you wherever we want, you know, then people can really say the thing that is really the deepest part. And until you give them space for that, you can't get to the part that really makes the decision.
That's beautiful. It's spot on. It's exactly what I'm talking about. Thanks for sharing that. So this week, I watched Ruby help one of our agents handle a contract to where it was like train wreck. It was like falling apart. And really what it came down to was the fact that there was a moving pod in the driveway. Share with us, Ruby. How'd you handle that?
So, the buyers were already very angry because of the communication from this agent. Called me because she's on my team. She's like, hey, I just need a broker's help. And it was already falling apart. They decided not to give them any more time or an extension or anything because the home they're moving into isn't closing until next week. And they specifically sent a text to the agent saying, please park the pod on the road. We don't mind if it sits there for the extra week. We're not gonna give them additional time to live into the home, but if they leave the pod on the road, it's fine. But make sure the driveway is clear because we're moving in on Friday. She sent out the text to the agent that Tuesday, the pod guy came, and she's a daughter of these clients and they're selling the home. So it's almost like she's lost power there. The pod guy came in and she said, you need to park this on the road. She's like, no, the owner said park it in the driveway. And so that's what we're doing. Parked it in the driveway. What happened was now the buyers are saying, oh, we need to move. You need to move the pod, or else we have to move in. Or they were already so frustrated. They came into closing. They said, we have a big problem. The pod is still sitting in the driveway. We don't know what to do. We called them. They will not move it till next Tuesday. And so, the mother almost started crying. And I said, so you've already called them and asked them, kind of explain the situation? And she said, yes. I said, why don't you give me the number? Let me see what I can do. I called them and I kind of did a power move. And I just said that, hey, we have used your guys' services for a client and they're in tears now because the pod cannot be moved till Tuesday and the deal is about to fall apart. And these clients are ready to cancel just because they can't move into their property, saying, we actually took the responsibility of recommending these people to you and now they're in tears. Is there anything you can do to move this pod tomorrow? Let me see, I need to talk to the manager. Oh, I'm so sorry about the situation. So I put a little emotion into it, saying these people are in tears. They're about to close, but they can't close, and they're having this situation of not being able to move into it, and everything's falling apart. Can you help us out? And we recommend everyone to you. So if you can help us out, that would be great. So I put the responsibility on them. They came back and said, I'm so sorry these situations happen. We'll move it tomorrow instead of next Tuesday. I went back into the closing table and let them know it's going to be moved tomorrow. You guys are good to go. And she got up and gave me a big hug. And she said, I can't believe how much you've done for us in this deal.
Key emotional elements is why that happened. We'll probably get a recruit out of it.
Yep.
A deal got closed because she understood there are key emotional elements involved in getting to the closing. Then you got the connection. Did she connect?
Oh yeah.
In a huge way because she understood those key emotional elements.
And there were so many things leading up to that. Not getting an authorization statement to get a payoff amount. They weren't able to close. They got the authorization yesterday, and we ended up closing at 3 p.m. But I had to get them to come in. There were old people that don't know how to use computers, and didn't know how to sign and send it in. So they had to drive all the way down, and we just got it the same day. And we just had to make that happen. And sometimes we need to bend over backwards for them.
And see, that's the ticket. Understanding when you call a for sale by owner or an expired or just listed, just sold, you're delivering an experience. Did this guy deliver an experience?
Absolutely.
You could see the emotion, right? So when we're talking on the phone with somebody, do you think that they can feel the way we're being? Yes.
You could tell, they can tell when you're like not into it, and that's when you come across as a telemarketer. It's a lot easier.
Wow.
I started identifying this week. It's like you can tell when you make somebody laugh and you actually have a connection. Like it's so much easier, or so much harder for them to hang up on you.
Yeah.
And when they feel like you're just super dry and not emotion, they don't feel guilty hanging up that phone.
That's right.
Yeah.
You listen to what Mike said a few minutes ago about this Vietnam vet and why he went with you out of multiple people. Because of the key emotional elements that we're thinking about, right?
When I was listening this week to a Chris Voss video, he tells the story of when he called a representative of a company to fix a problem, and they apologized to him. And he said to them, well, you think an apology fixes this? Like the problem's gone? What does that have to do with fixing the problem?
Wow.
So even an apology can be just a shallow thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It can make them worse.
Yeah, I mean, without question, Louis has a great story on that with his title company. And he called up and he talked to a lender, I believe it was, put hundreds of thousands of dollars to his company. And he says, whatever went wrong doesn't matter, I'm going to take care of it. Did apologize, but the sincerity to the key emotional elements is actually why he got to where he needed to be. See, I don't think we get on the phone and think about these things. So it's super important to me that we start to understand how we're showing up. Casting a vision. What do I mean by that?
Painting a picture.
You got to paint a picture, right, Phil? So another agent in our office yesterday had a transaction on owner carry contracts. They didn't understand the owner carry contracts too deeply, so they asked for my help. Well, the key emotional element to the guy was, I don't want to carry $600,000 or $1 million worth of debt. And here's what it looked like. So like casting a vision, let's just use simple numbers, $600,000 on the buy, and the sell was $400,000. I don't want to carry $1 million worth of debt. It's an emotional connection. How do we change that? Because he's going to carry, in his mind, $400,000 worth of debt. What's the emotional element here? The debt. Casting a vision of what can be, simple question. Let me ask you a question. Simple question. Would you take 2% of $1 million?
Yep.
Would you? So how am I taking a key emotional element, changing it to something different?
Focusing on what he's gonna get.
What he's going to get?
Net sheet.
Net sheet. What does it look like? Time value of money. Going, why wouldn't you want that? That's, $65,000 down. That's pure leverage. You hope they walk away.
Ruby and I talked through one yesterday too that's also seller finance. And I think when I really think back about it, so during the transaction, that's been ridiculously long, one of the signers passed away. And This signer is kind of the gatekeeper. It's the wife of the other signer. And I think really what's happening is it's a 10-year carry. And he's starting to think about how his life is winding down, how his friend has lost somebody, and like what's his life gonna look like in 10 years. And I think that's really, after talking with Ruby, really the emotion that's happening when he's like kind of suddenly putting a stop to it is, I'm 65 years old. In 10 years, I'm gonna be 75 years old. And do I wanna still be making $1,200 a month on this property? Or do I need to just wrap it all up and be doing the things I wanna be doing because look, this woman the same age as I am just passed away.
Yeah.
So I think that might be the real thing that's happening, but
Those are some key elements you have to focus on, right? Because they're real. That's where their emotion is. That's what we need to be keen on. We are problem solvers. We have to take an approach and say, here's what it looks like. No different with Phil and Marita, and when you're doing a loan in bumping a rate. You have to cast a different vision, right? I mean, what you did the other day in here in saying, what if we could get you a loan at even 3.675, but still be, how much difference? Quarter of a point difference than any lender out there. Would you be in for that? Yeah? Well, we're bumping the rate. Really? We have to clearly show the key emotional elements to make that happen. Help them connect to it, then deliver an experience based on casting a vision. That's what we should be doing when we're prospecting. Help me understand what you're ultimately trying to accomplish. That question is vital because it brings to the surface what are they ultimately trying to do. Ask yourself this question. How are you showing up in your life? To yourself. How are you showing up in your spouse's life? Boyfriend, girlfriend, kid, mother, father, clientele. How are you showing up? What does that look like? How are they responding? What are their key emotional elements in walking through this process? And are you connecting at a level that makes them go, oh? How many times did I have to ask the same question to the gentleman that we actually met with? Do you remember?
I'm still counting it to this.
Same question over and over and over and over. But he finally went, oh, right?
Yeah.
Because we had to drill down on this. We speak different languages. Even though we're speaking English, we speak different languages. Why is that? It happened this morning, right, Matt?
It did, yeah.
Go ahead, Wayne.
We have different places we're coming from.
Okay, yes. Assumptions determine behavior, and behavior determines assumption. It's not so important what's being said, it's what's perceived to be said. Right, April? What happened this morning that just threw us all off?
Well, so I just joined the circle. You're working on something very specific, and I didn't know exactly what was going on until it was my turn. And you said, "Do this," and I was in my mind. I was thinking, "Okay, I have to think about that for a second." So I asked, "Can I go to?"
after Ruby?
Yeah, can I go after Ruby? Is what I said, and you looked at it as, "Can I throw an objection at Ruby?" And you said no, and I was like,
I responded, no!
And in my mind, I was like, okay, well, that's a good pressure, so I can focus on it for a second. And what he really was meaning is like, no, you can't go after Ruby, and he needs to practice, not Ruby needs to practice. So it's just a miscommunication.
Right.
Yeah.
How often do we do that? All the time.
You assumed.
I did.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting too because I think it illustrated too that what story are we walking into?
Ooh.
We were in a story of, we were in pick on Greg mode.
Yeah, we're in pick on Greg mode,
pick on
right?
Greg mode. We were all
We're like
attacking
pack
Greg
of
with
wolves.
things.
They just said yes to
Matt walked into a story that was already happening and he wasn't a part of that story yet.
He walked into the narrative, right? And we just like, no, you're not going to go after Ruby. Leave her alone. It was almost like a perfect setup for what we're talking about today, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's something we need to start keying on, because remember the feather in the head? How many focused on the feather?
Everybody.
Everybody.
We started calling the Yankee Doodle.
Yankee Doodle. Yeah.
I was
People who
jealous I couldn't do that.
that's what Phil said. It's interesting the way our assumptions determine our behavior. When we're calling somebody up on the phone, most agents are already going, let me tell you why you can't sell it on your own. I'm always going, man, I'm glad you're trying it on your own. Helps you understand what I do better. That's a little bit different approach. But if we're trying to figure out what their understanding the key emotional elements are and how I can connect out of that, I'll call them exits. Get off on the exit that they're on so you can understand them, what they're trying to ultimately accomplish. It is typically always about putting more money in their pocket, is the primary thing that they're looking at. So if you look at these things, understanding what we need what do we need to understand about emotional objection handling?
I feel like if you can connect with them on an emotional level, you can find out the answers that they're not willing to tell you.
Yeah. So I set a thing up that happened to me, or a role play that happened to me 20 years ago. So I had a guy that it was bank foreclosure, had to show up and actually evict him, but his wife just died. Him and his wife both were in the hospital with both kidney and liver transplants. He had lost his job, 2 foreign payments. I mean, how tough was that? He kept avoiding me, so I parked on his doorstep practically, and he had no choice but to talk to me. He told me all these things, and I'm like, holy crap, this sucks. But we set the scenario of that and how can we help him. It was fascinating what we discovered about how we present and how we show up. A long story short with him is I actually put a deposit down on a rental property for him. I double-ended the foreclosure. But it was one of those things, if I could have gotten, or if he would have got with me, because what the bank would have me do is go out and interview people. Let's say, okay, go to this property, let's see if it's it's either going to be a short sell, or it's going to be a refinance, or foreclosure. So I'd go in, and whatever was in there, if it was a refinance, I got $1,000 for just interviewing. If it wasn't that, then I got the short sell. If it wasn't that, I got the foreclosure. So if he would have not avoided me, he could have got $1,000 in his pocket. I could have gone in and actually fixed his scenario. By the time he allowed me, it was done. By the time I got to talk to him, he goes, God, why didn't we do this before? I tried. Now you got to get out. Sorry. So that's very difficult. We got to understand this process. That's why just doing objection handling, to me, there's more to it than just learning the script. Understanding who they are, what they need is the most important. I hope you learned something today from this approach. I hope you'll use it. Let's do some closing affirmations. Mike Hancock, would you jump up there?
Couldn't possibly.
We have to wait for the song to pick up.